Oh, hi there. What, you're wondering what this is? Oh, it's my novel. The second one I've ever written, and the one I'm going to publish. Yes, I know. It's better for you to write multiple novels before you ever publish. But you see, that doesn't apply to me. Why? Why? Well, it's quite simple. Why? I forgot how I go about doing that. What's up, my fellow scribe? Sam here. Welcome back to the channel. We are getting deep into a new series, which is about my word for the year.
I'm sorry.
Quarter. With that word being failure. I'm examining my past failures, so I don't make them anymore. I don't want to. And I figured I'd take you along on my journey. If you'd like to get a proper start to this series, there'll be a link to the playlist. If you'd like to get a proper start to this series, I'll have a link to all the videos and the playlist in the cards above. Today, we're tackling the third biggest failure of mine, and it is attached to a project. And I forgot my process? Sure. I've been waiting to talk about this one for a very long time. Back when I came up with this idea to talk about my failures as a nonfiction book. I know what you're thinking. How can being attached to a project be a bad thing? Someone once said, I'm not sure who, but you need to love what you're writing. Which is true. If you don't like or are interested in what you're writing, it's just gonna make the writing harder. However, it is possible to love something too much. So much that working on anything else is blasphemy. This is how I felt about Marks of Valera, my second novel series
ever.
I loved this idea so much. So much. The first book of the series had to be my first published book. Nope, I wouldn't hear anything else about it. Writing multiple books advice I got early on in my career, and I was thankful for that, and ignored it. I was like, yeah, but what about this one? This one has to be the one. Why? It just had to be. It wasn't like it was the only idea I had. I had many series that I was working on at different times. Usually when I needed a break from Marks, or I just hit a roadblock. There was just something about Marks of Valera that just had to be the series I published first. Most of those other series were just my attempts to have something to write so I could write every day. Those series weren't as developed as Marks of Valera. When I would take a break from it because I needed to fix a problem or just needed a break, it didn't last long.
A month, 2 months.
Before I came back to it. In 2011, it's when I really kind of accepted there was some issues with the series. But I didn't take a break. I jumped in with a new take on the series and caused more problems. I had to change my first firm deadline to publish of 2012, and things only got worse after that. When I finally called it quits on Marks of Valera and take a few years off, which is closing in on 10 years now, I needed to find the next project to work on. Only one problem.
I forgot my process.
So, how do you forget how to develop a novel?
Easy.
Spend 2-3 years trying to fix one and not really develop anything else.
Several little pieces.
I didn't realize I forgot my process until it was way too late. My Veil trilogy was already doomed. If you go and watch the terrible How I Develop a Novel series, video series on this channel, that was me grasping at how I actually did this.
It wasn't.
It's kind of how I developed the Veil trilogy. It was how I thought I developed Marks and Forbidden Realm, but it wasn't. Marks and Valera and Forbidden Realm are my two most developed and two of my oldest projects.
Period.
And they were pretty much developed, for the most part, around the same time. In the summer of 2006, when I first started Marks of Valera, I got stuck trying to pants the first novel. Yeah, so I took a break and I started working on Forbidden Realm again, which I was world building. I had ideas for stories and everything, and I was fleshing out the world, and I was just like, this is how I should do Marks of Illyria. And that's what I did. Over the summer, every few days or weeks, switch back and forth between the two projects when I got stuck or just needed some time to think on it. That's how I developed those series. I forgot that.
Why?
It wasn't like I had the outlines for all the books of Marks of Illyria.
Nope. Nada. Nope.
All I knew is I wanted 8 books. There were magical marks and 7 special magical marks. There were also 7 villains and a secret organization that was fighting against them. No. They were not rebels, but they played the part of rebels. I just fleshed those things out while I was trying to figure out the story I was telling, which wouldn't be for another year. And this was also before I knew the ending. I've never developed a series like that since. A few during it, but nowhere as fleshed out, remember? If I hadn't forgotten that process, the Veiled Trilogy I don't think would have turned out as bad, but maybe it would have. I didn't even try to remember how to develop that series at all. I was so focused on my 2016 publishing deadline. Hindsight is always 2020. What if I took a longer break back in 2011 when I knew I needed to shrink the number of books for Marks and that new take came to me? Maybe that first book of that series would be out already, or maybe a different book would be out. What I wouldn't let myself realize is I could always come back to that series later, but I didn't want that. I put so much time in Marks of Illyria and so focused on a deadline to get published, I just had to finish Marks of Illyria. Sometimes it's okay to walk away. If I had in 2011, who knows what would happen. Back then, I still knew my process. But I do know what happened though. I was so focused on a deadline to get published, I never stood a chance. And that's gonna be next week's video. Since you've reached the end of the video, why don't you go and smash that like button and subscribe. Do you wanna know if writing for yourself is bad writing advice? Click the video to my right to find out. Thanks for watching. Bye.